Have a seat. All right, good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing?
Great.
All right, we got a lot of stuff to go over. So February 2nd, the first month is in the books. That could be a good look. That's what you're asking. All right. So we have a lot of things going on, a lot of moving parts in February, which I'm really excited about, but it's a short month. It's like in the NFL, but you got a Thursday night game, right? Sometimes you play on Sunday, and then you got to play on Thursday. This is not a job, okay? And it's not even a sales position. Maybe self-employed, but a business. A self-motivated, a self-starter, fully disciplined business. Okay? And I was looking at the numbers, and I'm not going to go into the numbers too much today. Obviously, we're going to really recognize this stuff tomorrow. But one thing that rings true, obviously, in Primerica, but in life, okay, because you see people, and you guys, okay, and a lot of you guys, I observe, I see, I meet in the office, I call you guys, many of you, all the time, and I see sometimes you're putting in the work, but the results aren't there. Sometimes they'll come later. Okay? If you're putting in the work and you're getting better and you're learning and you're disciplined, results will always come. But one thing in this book, right? Your outer world is simply a reflection of your inner world. Your outer world is simply a reflection of your inner world. Whatever results you're getting, be they rich or poor, good or bad, positive or negative, always remember that your outer world is simply a reflection of your inner world. If things aren't going well in your outer life, it's because things aren't going well in your inner life. It's that simple. Now some of you, it's just lack of effort. Okay, that's okay. I'm not, you know, it is what it is. You're just not putting forth the effort. But some of you guys got to get your thinking right. You know, one thing I used to always say in our business, always, Donald, always, and I lived by this because when I started, I was like a lot of, you know, why did I get started in Primerica? I got started, I was very excited, I hated my job, I wanted a way to make money. They sold me on the fact that in 2 to 3 years you can make $100 grand a year, and I saw a lot of people being successful. I was a fool financially, so I never understood the concepts of money, even though my dad was a wizard with money, great saver. I think about my dad, on my dad's income, to put all 3 kids through college, to have 0 debt, multiple properties. And you know, my dad has a huge family back home, and they're all, like, my dad's from a village. Not a city. My dad's like when you go to my dad's village, it's a straight village, you know, it's a pumping well. Like you to get water, you have to freaking pump a well. Like they have limited electricity, like hours a day. I mean, my dad came from a village, so he has to send a lot of money back home, built an orphanage, built a mosque, put all 3 kids through college. Both my sisters switched majors, so they took like extra time. And you know, I'm just like, damn, you know. But I never knew anything about money. He didn't teach me about money. We didn't have these conversations. You know, I saw through a great example. I didn't follow it. But I got involved in Primerica because I thought this was a way to beat the system. But man, they're not going to judge me on my resume. They're not going to judge me on my grades, and I'll be able to, you know, correct all the stupid things I did in high school and college by working here. The problem is innately I'm a shortcutter. I could rely on my talent. I could rely on certain things because, you know, like in sports, like saying, I'm not like this, but say in sports I was athletically gifted. The problem in Primerica is there's no shortcuts in Primerica. Not one. Anytime you try to take any sort of shortcut, it's delaying the inevitable about you becoming successful. Period. Fastest way, quickest way, do it right the first time. Fastest way, quickest way, best way, sturdiest way, strongest way. Not on a house of cards, do it right the first time. Pay the price up front. Get your schedule right. So, I'm excited about February. You know, kind of switch gears a little bit before we go to some of our announcements. You know, some of you guys know this a little bit. My dad's been in and out of the hospital. We don't know if he's, you know, he could have had multiple strokes. You know, his arm went numb a couple times. And, you know, it's, and he's doing okay right now. But, you know, my dad, his friend, not a good friend, a family friend that he's known for a long time, just had a stroke on Saturday night. Passed away the next day. You know, so I mean, you know, your family has health challenges, your dad had a stroke, and I mean, it's debilitating. And you know, you start thinking about these things, and I know a lot of people, a lot of you guys. I mean, I'm 30, I'm gonna be 38, right? I'm 38 now. You know, just with the age of my parents' friends, it seems like my dad has gone to 3. You know, we call them there's certain prayers in our culture and religion, the basic funerals. 3 funerals in the last month, and there's strokes or heart attack or cardiac arrest or something like that. And you know, your mind can wander. You start thinking, and you know, I see my dad every day. I talk to my dad every day. I call my dad every day. I go for lunch, you know, all the time. I mean, I have an unbelievable relationship with my parents. And you start thinking just about things, and you start thinking, you get sad, right? And you know, I know you guys. Some of you guys have challenges with your family life and stuff like that. And And you know, one thing I love, and I mean it, I love coming here. I think about that. I love coming here. Like it's never a chore for me to come to training. You know, I was talking to somebody this week, and they said, where do you find the time to work and this and that? I said, man, we were just talking, but this is what I do for a living. I talk for a living. Like, this ain't work. I remember I had to dig ditches before. I had to fold clothes before. I had to do spreadsheets before, and I get talked down to. This does not work. Now, do I leave my house? Would I rather probably be on the beach? Yeah, but the beach doesn't help you. Like, it doesn't mold you. It doesn't sculpt you. It doesn't frame you. It doesn't get you mentally tough for life, because all that stuff is great and it's awesome. But these meetings, these trainings, these teammates, these attacking a month, this doubling, these goals, everything, and even if you come up short, it just it just prepares you. And I never look at this as work. Now, I'm not saying there are extreme moments of frustration, and I'm not Bill Whittle, so I can't. I'm not able to handle my frustrations better as some of you. Sometimes I'll lash out, sometimes things like that. But I'm blessed to just have this. I have a Friday. I have a Saturday. I have a Tuesday night. I have conference calls. I have people that I can call that are. It's a community, right? Always remember that. If you think that this is work, go get a job. Go get a job. Go get a job. Go. I mean. I was telling somebody the other day, and I live by this principle, the worst day at Primerica is better than the best day at the I always keep that in my mind. It doesn't matter what's going on out there, what's happening, where the obviously, I got a text, Robin sent me a text last night. A good friend of mine, Joe Ward, just crossed over $1 million a year, right? That's the number, I think, 84, right? 84, number 84, Joe Ward costs over $1 million a year. And so obviously, initially, right, some of you guys are excited. Initially, I'm not excited. Then when I think about it, I should be excited. It's the right thing to do, right? But I am a hater. Ooh, hate. But Joe Ward, good friend of mine, have his phone number, can text him, call him, I see him, and we always exchange pleasantries. 2 years ago, right? 2 years ago, 36 months ago. Okay? 36 months ago was at 400,000. Go. I beat him to 400, and I beat him to NSD, and now he's at $1 million. You get your schedule down, you get your mind right, you go find a couple good people, you don't know where you can be in 24 to 36 months. He's made $1 million. $1 million a year. What did he make last month? 100,000? I don't know what he made. All right. So let's go with some announcements. You never think that Primerica is a punishment. That's you and your thinking and this and that. This is a great place to always go. I mean, yeah, even the drive. Sometimes you guys have fun. Then you put freaking audio and put a book. That's your hour of meditation before you attack the freaking world. Before you get squatted on. All right. Anyways, so let's go over some announcements. All right. So tomorrow, Super Saturday. I can't wait for tomorrow. Feels like a long time we haven't done a Super Saturday. So we had our event last month. So tomorrow we'll be here, get all dressed up, get your uniforms on. A bunch of people here, top turnout. We'll do some fun stuff tomorrow and get ready for February, right? Obviously, who's getting recognized? People that passed the exam. We had a few promotions this month. We've been promoted this month. We'll have some top producers, and we have a special guest speaker. So, the senior leadership meeting at our company, the first in January, they take all the people that make over $250,000 a year, and they fly us to Atlanta, and we have basically a 2-day conference about our goals, where we finished at, all this stuff, right? It's the best. It's not as good as Millionaires in Training, which is the new RVP meeting, but it's right next to it. Okay? It's right next to it. It's just this weird feeling. 500 people in our company make $250,000 or more. So to be in that room, it's a lot of money in that room. Okay, a lot of money. And so one of my wife and I, we had to speak in Boston a couple months ago, and there's a guy named Lito Lagman. Anybody know him? It's funny because people don't know people that make $300,000 a year. Right? Think about that. Like that's like a CEO of a smaller company, and people don't know, right? So Lito and his wife Mercy, very good in the business. They make $300,000 a year. They built their business in Boston, the Boston, Connecticut, that whole New England area, and moved. They just moved, and they moved. They don't have any RVPs. They have just a base shop, and they moved to Fort Washington, so somewhere around the National Harbor. They're in Maryland, and they're already doing basically 20 by 20. And I've seen their team. I told Samir this because they are Filipino, right? And Sheila, I was like, man, we got to get Sheila around these people. And, I mean, it's sharp. They have a regional leader making 75. I think they may actually make 100. I don't want to overspeak, but 70,000. They did recognize that we have 10 to 15,000 income. New to think about, just a different voice, somebody new, and they are great people. Okay, great people. They do, a little bit older than me, but they're just awesome. It's going to be a great training. Okay? So make sure you get a bunch of people here. It's going to be a phenomenal event. I don't know. I mean, for me, I just get excited. I get excited. Somebody that can start over and build a 20 by 20 from scratch and already making 300. For me, I like it when I see people take risks, right? It's like, damn, okay, you did that, and that's why you're coming to speak, because you did something other people can't do. I'm not going to get you because you're a nice person or some tragedies happen in your life. Did you overcome them? Did you take a risk? Did you win? Come. And so they're coming tomorrow. It's going to be a great meeting. What time do we start? 9:30 today. Great energy, great attitude, lots of new people. We're going to have an unbelievable event tomorrow, all right? All right, the company announced what? They haven't announced it yet, but we were able to get some inside information. So in the month of February, they already started the new contest for Miami, the Fountain Blue Club Live. Right? So if you guys are, going through a midlife crisis like me, it's going to be great. Right? So they announced 100 new slots to Miami. Right? Starting now, 4-month contest. For RVPs above 40, future RVPs 30, future regional 20, newly life license 10. And then right? And then it's the same thing. If you qualify at your level, you get 50,000 points. So if you don't qualify, now there's different tiers you can get, but if you qualify, you get 50,000 points, okay? So if you don't qualify, you miss it by a recruit, miss by a little premium, you miss out on the 50,000 points. Now look, you got to know the numbers, because at least if you get, say, Shondell says, oh, I can't get to 7 by 7,500 this month, at least get to 5 by 5,000. Because that'll give you, it'll stagger the points so you're at least in the game, okay? And then you get triple recruit credit. And then you become super qualified. If you qualify up 10 by 10, 7 by 7, 5 by 5, 3 by 25, you get an extra 25,000. Okay. Future, they're competing for suites. Race to the Bay, this is the securities trip. All right, so pull up the fast start. Sure. go through that really quickly. All right. I want to go over some tips on this fast start, and this is the one with the gym, not the
one. Yeah. Sorry,
that's cool. Don't worry about it. All right. So. Okay. So one thing, when I was on kitchen table appointments, okay, we have new trainers in here, people going out there, they're going across the KT, they are not getting the results they want, right? And then obviously if you don't get results at the KT, you are more reluctant to set appointments. You don't want to set appointments. Subconscious, you don't even know it, but you don't. You're skip right, like they say. Like I like LeBron's. I'm not like a LeBron hater, but one area where LeBron does not do well is he does not shoot free throws well at all. Like if you look at the all-time grades, like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, they're like 85%, 80% from the free throw line. LeBron sometimes is below 70%, which is crazy because a free throw, you're right there, there's nobody in front of you, and from the field, he shoots like 75, you know what I mean? Like, he shoots 60% from the field, but from the free throw line with nobody, sometimes he shoots below 70%. So that's the one real critical thing in his game. It's like, man, you can't shoot free throws. And so what they say is, like, late in games, he won't drive. Because he doesn't drive. Now, this is just speculation. Who knows? I mean, it's LeBron. Who am I? You know what I mean? But this is what they said. That he doesn't drive because he doesn't want to go to the free throw line and have that pressure on him late in the game. That's what they said. He'll settle for jumpers because he doesn't want to go to the free throw line. Settle it. Like Kobe, we got Kobe. So that's what they say, right? It's the same thing. You don't want to set appointments because you don't want to go get beat up at the kitchen table. You don't want to get embarrassed in front of your recruit. And so that, obviously, I know it's very natural to think like that. It really is, but that's not the right thing. Just look, you're going to be bad in the beginning. You just got to go out there and you'll realize what? Most clients don't know enough. And some people are bricks anyway. It doesn't matter how good you are. How experienced you are, you can't win those people over. And it's funny, when you, the right mentality, when you deal with the brick, you actually get more excited. And then there's a lot of great people out there that we can help. And those great clients are extremely patient with you, and they're friendly, and they allow you to get better. And then you realize, man, you don't need a lot of appointments to get good. I'm way better on my third appointment than the first, or the fifth versus the first, and the 10th and the 20th. I'm amazing. And it's just like, hey, another day at the office. Walk in the ring, show up, do your 12 rounds, get paid. Right? That's the way I am. So, one thing at the KT, what happens, and this is what I'm starting to realize, because I hear this a lot too on the phone. I hear it all the time in the office. What happens at the KT, you think, that the fatal flaw new people make? What are some flaws that people make?
They let the person they doing the KT with stop to take over the interview a little bit. Okay,
that's great. And by the way, we're going to make a big deal of this tomorrow, but you had 2 people pass the test this month, right? Okay, so one person passed the test, but you had a breakout month, new district leader. Let's give it up. Man. You look different, man. You feel something different about you. Like you put on the deodorant this morning.
Came out the house different.
Yeah, right.
Look at the sun.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
I mean, you worked really hard. So, So Donald said the client takes control. Okay, the client starts talking too much, and you can't interrupt the client. They start talking too much, and that messes up everything, right? So that messes up your flow. It messes up you don't want to say too much because then they're going to start talking. It messes up your time. You get annoyed. Many of us can't hide it, right? Sometimes the partner even gets annoyed, right? Say if the wife that talks or the husband talks too much, and you're just like, gosh, man, right? Right? That's a good one. What else? What are some flaws, major flaws that people make at the KT? Talk too much. Talk too much. Talk too much. You can't talk too much, man. Right? But it's not to... Okay, I get that. That's a client's sale is $500 on the line. No. Write this down. Talking too much is a way of life, man. It's a way of life. You can't talk too much. This is not about you. Nobody cares what you have to say. Nobody. It's about asking questions, getting them to talk, getting them to understand why we're doing certain things. Now, there are some declarative statements that you need to make. There's power statements, there's closes, there's certain things where you have to present. But you can't talk too much, right? So, for me, okay, the reason I love this presentation, because it's a working presentation. It's a working presentation. As bad as we did in January, we still recruited through our organization 70 new people. Okay? Now that's not where we need to be. We need to grow. Okay? But there's enough, whatever it is, to start a fire. Some of your teams, you're recruiting 5, 10 people. You got a couple. You only need a few. I told you, I saw Joe Ward at the trip, and I remember saying this to you guys. I asked him, there's 2 trips ago, I said, dude, you're freaking killing it. He was at 600,000. I said, what is going on in your business? What did he say? I got 4 people. I have 4 people. They want to kill each other. They're competing every month. They're working hard. I stay out of their way. 4, not 100, not 200. Now, he's got a lot of part-time. He's got 4 people that are freaking after it. I said, man, I got to find those people quick, man. They're going to be 4 deep. They're going to be in a warm market, and they're going to be not hard to get, but you got to go through a lot of numbers. I can do it. I was talking to my wife this morning at 8:30. She was just after I dropped my daughter off to school. I called her. I was talking about the meeting this morning, and I was just like, man, because I was talking about Joe Ward. Because when we went to the Coldplay concert, we randomly saw Joe Ward, and we were talking about Joe Ward, right? And it was just random in Baltimore. I never thought Joe Ward would be a Coldplay fan, right? What happens when you get money, Shay? Shay's like, Cold. What are the numbers at? Music. Feeling those dads are corrupt.
They have no idea.
Yeah. You know who corrupt is? You don't know who corrupt is?
Oh,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah. Who knows who corrupt is? Thank you. That's one thing she does know. I know him, I try to forget. That was a dark time for me. It was a really, really dark time. Anyways, that's funny. You do it during the interview, you do it in the fast start, you do it every time. You just talk too much, man, and you talk the recruit out, man. You talk the new client out. You miss the sale because you're talking too much. And so these are some things that, just some tips on, when you deal with somebody, just a couple things that I think can help you, okay, just a little bit, because we got to get to work, right? We got to get the list, we got to get people under them, we got to get them out in the field, and they got to see results very quickly. Very quickly. So, I do the gym story. Hey, 29% of people who join the gym are showing up 6 months later. They spend $50 a month on a membership. They don't even show up. I tell a little bit of a story because I just go through the gym and I say, you know, look, these people, they sign a contract, this and that. Why do you think I also do this? Okay? Most people can relate to that. They're paying a membership right now. They're paying some sort of thing that they signed up for, probably a gym membership that they signed up for, and they're not using anymore. Some sort of service. At the time they signed up, they were really excited. They got on an emotional high, and now they're not doing it anymore. They spend $50 a month on membership. They don't even show up. What do the 20? And this is a great, see, it's a question. I ask people. I said, what do you think they have in common? And you'll be shocked at what people say. But some people, they get to the right answer, right? They say, well, you know, they got results. They'll say that. Like, I want to just hear their thinking. They say, they got results. They saw a difference. They stuck to it. I want to hear them say that. I don't want to say it. Oh, look, man, like I said, raise the standards. We're recruiting people. We can beg everybody. I get it. Some people, you know, you just need your one recruit. You're a little beggy. You're a little desperate. But everybody? No. I need people. I don't need you. What are the 20? You know, they get results. They stuck to it. They showed up. They showed up 8 times in the first month and they got results quickly. This is a question. I let them answer. I want to hear what they have to say. I want to see their thinking. First 30 days, you can earn your district leader promotion, qualify for $300 bonus, and build a team of 7 to 10 people or more, gain tons of confidence and momentum, on track to earn $2,000 to $4,000 your first month license. Okay, this is an affirmation. I know that many people, you know, you guys are wrestling with this. You've got to say it, man. You got to say it, and this presentation, a lot of it's for you more than the recruit. If this is where you're at 30 days from now, how would you feel? Let them answer. Do you like to get off to a fast start or a slow start? Okay. So one thing, and I'll be honest with you, I was shortcutting the goals a little bit. Okay. I thought it was a little bit corny, and I didn't want to, you know. And I'm not going to like the depths of these goals. Okay. I'm not going to. I don't want to know, you know. Like, so, you know, just want to be loved. I don't want that. Okay. I would never ask somebody like Josh to 6 months. But you know what? You do got to find out what people's goals are. It is important. It really is. You know, I mean, I'm talking to people that I would, you know, and some of the things. It's refreshing to hear why people get involved. It gets you excited about working with them, and everything is about you. Always remember this: you're the most important person. How you feel about it, your thoughts, how you're attacking it. And you'll find out, man. I want, you know, school, this and that. How much is that? And you'll hear it. And just by them saying it, I say, hey, man, you know, Kelvin, why did you, you know, why did you start get started? And he says, oh, well, you know what? I need some extra money, and it could be something as little as swimming lessons, right? Right? There's a man, you know, I just got frustrated because I couldn't put my kids in like a swimming school. They had to go to the community center, right? And I said, well, okay, and I don't say, oh man, that's a great goal. Processing the information, right? How much is that? Quantify it. Find the dollar amount. Hey man, I know it's cool not to have goals, it's cool not to be excited, it's cool not to be money motivated, but people are. They want to make money, they got things they want to accomplish. And he says, man, it's, you know, I got 3 kids and it's $300 a month. It's, you know, the classes that I want to go to, it's $300 a month. I said, really? So it's just literally $300 a month. Yeah. And the wheels start spinning in his mind. You can just feel it. He's like, man, that's it. $300 bucks. Or I want to get a new house, and it's $1,100 a month. right? You guys know, you know I'm selling my house, right? And I put a pretty good down payment. Anybody want to buy my house? Respected bias. Look at this credit. This is so good. You like to drive from Maryland?
Nope.
I'll give you a sweetheart deal and a cash deal right now.
I have to send my house again.
If my house was on Trump golf course. Where was I? Oh yeah, my house. You know how much my mortgage is for my house? How much is it? $2,500. $2,500 a month. Some of you guys pay $1,500 a month. Some of you guys pay $1,600, $1,800 a month for rent. Now, okay, property taxes is $3,000. Okay. My principal, that's holding you back? You got to know the numbers. You got to know your numbers, man. Now, I'm not saying, look, I'm not save every freaking dollar you have. Okay? I'm not saying don't stretch, don't be lean and mean. Freaking have $50,000 in the bank, $100,000 in the bank. Okay? Let's tell you that's the most important thing. Pay off all your debt. Okay? So, but I'm just saying, like, some of these things, like, it's not a lot of money, man. Hey, you want to get a housekeeper or something like that? It's not a lot. $100 a week. Someone to do all your laundry. You just, right? Throw it on the floor. You come back and it's folded, washed, in back there. You didn't have to do it. You got to know your numbers, man. And you don't know what people's goals are. You get to learn a little bit about them. Man, I got student loan debt I want to pay off. I want to buy a car. I want to do this. We need this. We need a second car. Okay. Find out how much is that. Just go through it a little bit quickly, right? And, you know, I never asked this, but I started doing it. I was like, all right, man, let me just start, okay? With what you're currently doing, how long will it take you to accomplish? That is a freaking stunner question. Because you're telling them basically, look, they can never do it. What are some of your goals? I want to spend more time with my kid. Okay, well, what do you mean? Like, what can't you do? And you say, well, what the current you're doing, how long will it take you? That's never going to happen, man. I'm getting busier and busier. Okay. If they have half a freaking brain, they're going to say, man, I need some passive income. I need a side hustle. I need more financial freedom, and that's why you do it, right? If it's important to you, you'll find a way. If it's not, you'll find an excuse. I already went through the comfort zone training with you guys. I love talking about this. I mean, this is the only time I'm really kind of lecturing at people, and not lecturing, but kind of saying something. I talk to them about, hey, man, I know you're, and I use myself because I never want to attack anybody, even though I'm always talking about them. And I don't care if they're Kelvin. I don't care if they're a college athlete. I don't care if they're freaking in the gym crazy. I don't care if they're the most physically fit person. I don't care what accolades. I don't care what GPA they have. They're scared. They're terrified. I was a chicken. I just at least knew I was a chicken. But I don't care what clothes they have on. They're scared. Now, they can do it. They can say it sophisticatedly. Right? Well, I was just wondering. Maybe sure. And it's funny because I was too. So I'm not saying it like that. But so I talked to them about comfort. That's just comfort zone. You know, and you know, magic happens, and we're going to grow your comfort zone. And as you grow, you know, you're going to grow as a person. I just want to see if some of this stuff resonates with them at all. At all. Just at all. Right? Because it is, I mean, people that come here, they do want to change their life ultimately. It's not just about money. Right? They do want to be people they're proud of. They want to be the go-to person. They want to be somebody, all that stuff. Right? So we're just having a little bit of conversation here. I don't really go through the This slide, the purpose of this, what we have to do for Springfield District. We got to get 3 recruits as soon as possible. Help 6 clients. And I don't tell them 30 days yet. I love asking them, how quickly would you like to knock this out? Because sometimes they'll say 10 or 11. Right? 30 days is the longest it should take. It shouldn't. If we're working in somebody's hot market, right? Like Kelvin had somebody go to the buzzer yesterday, right? What did he do? He got 2 recruits. Were those recruits not there? Were they not there? They've always been there. They were always there, but we put a gun to his head and said, hey, dude, it's 5 o'clock. You got to get this to get your promotion. Can you make it happen? And Samir, you were on the phone when I was talking to him, right? He was like, all right, man, I'm going to do it. I called him back 15 minutes later. What did he say?
I got 2 recruits.
He's like, I got him. He's like, I'm literally submitting them right now. I was like, damn. I was just talking. I was like, really? Right? I didn't know if he'd do it. I was like, damn. They were already there. There was a hot market. This is the problem. This is why our numbers are staying small, man. We're not getting in people's hot market right away. We got recruits that everybody's got 3 to 6. Everybody. He had them. And he's coming around, he's taking notes. He had 2 recruits like that. And I asked him, I said, oh, so are they just recruits or anything? No, they're going to take the test. He's like, no. You know, and I know one of them. She's going to take the test. I was like, yeah, you already had somebody. That was me. That was Kelvin. That's us not doing our job as trainers. You got to get the list. You got to freaking extract all the people, the information, and you got to go see them fast tonight, tomorrow night. You guys don't have anything on your schedule, man. What are you waiting for? The freaking, you know, the weather to be good, no traffic, this and that, perfect drive? No, but how long are you going to get your numbers where they are, income where it is? Everything about this business is inconvenient. I just want you to understand that. Okay? And that's just to freaking challenge you. Freaking toughen you up. And as you get older in the business, your business gets bigger and you have more people, it gets easier. But everything about it is inconvenient. I'm not talking about comfort zone. If you have a comfort zone, quit now. Inconvenient. Inconvenient. 4 appointments the day my son was born. Not very convenient. But does it matter now? Does it matter now? Right, I was going to tell my wife, it has not the greatest numbers, but yeah, we'll finish income $35,000 this month. Does it matter? If it pays off in the long run and you have complete total financial freedom, and does it matter how inconvenient it is? It doesn't. It doesn't. How quickly they knock it out? Could you clear time in your schedule to do it? I think this is the biggest thing. People don't clear their schedule. They just don't. They will not carve time out. And they can't adhere to a schedule at all. Maximum 30 days, sign up for class. We're going to talk about the first down, then you go to work. Right? And we know what? We stump the recruit. Right? Hey, what would you say? Always do this. Okay? This is the biggest fundamental in setting appointments. Hey, we got to set up appointments. How would you do it? What would you? Don't ever give them the script right away. Say, what would you say? Hear what they'll say. They might say something good. Then give them a couple of objections. Okay, Kelvin, so you say, call me, and I pretend I say, oh, well, I need to talk to my wife. I'll call you back. And then you teach them to respond to these things. Okay, well, I have a way that I can show you. Give them the script, that's it, right? Then they can take the medicine. Never give them the script. They'll immediately look at the script and start dissecting right away. Say, oh, no, I'll say it better. No, you can't. That's why we're going to role play right now. What would you say to me? And he might even do a good job. Oh, what's it all about? Right? I need to talk to my wife. And if you didn't get a point, no, we have to get a point. No, I'm serious. You have to do this. And some of you guys, this is, you know, okay, I get it, right? I get it. Some of you guys, right, you recruit people, right? How many recruits? Well, how much training? You got to do better with the recruits, man. Right? And I know some of them are just cold marketed, whatever. They're not going to win. Don't worry about it. Okay? And why are we calling you out? You're on film. You're in the game. So I can't say this for a lot of people in here. They didn't do 12 recruits. Okay? So that's number one. I always tell you, film session, those people are in the game. They're playing. Right? Some of y'all ain't in the game. That's why I can't even say anything about your numbers. You get a recruit, they're older than you, you're intimidated by them, they might have better degrees than you. This is how you stump them. You show them that you may know life, but I know Primerica. I know this business. You've never built anything here. You never recruited somebody. You've never gotten anybody a district leader, right? You don't say that. You say it through the presentation because, you know, that's what people do. They you know, they're judging you too, right? Oh, she's young. Oh, she's this. Or she's that. And they don't listen, right? Because they don't do it they do it with me too. Some people don't listen, right? They think they know better. It's like, why would you join me and then try to reinvent the wheel? Right? But is that right? Because if you go out on enough appointments, you're going to get results, right? It's just getting something from these people, right? And when you do more than 10 recruits, always remember, 3 or 4 are going to quit immediately. Okay, so don't worry about that, right? Because really you have 6, right? Out of 13, you probably have 5 or 6. That's the key, right? We can't avoid the 5 or 6 that quit immediately. All right. Do you need the Elmo, Sophia? Or do you need the presentation?
I guess.
So Sophia's going to go over the dime real quick. Sophia had, finished at 14 grand last month. And one thing I was talking to her on the phone today, and I know Tara on her own, I don't know what she got, $3,000 a month check. John, right, got a $300 a month check, or whatever. But they're getting big checks. Okay? So there's an art form that running the dime and being able to close insurance, right? I mean, to do for that, I don't know what the personal thing. 7,500. So 6,000 personal again, right over 5,000, 14,000. So great job. $500,000 securities collected and paid. So great job on it. I know one trade she made $4,100 on one trade. Okay, so but I want you to go through the dime because I know you're doing a couple things and seeing things that we're not seeing out there. Okay, and here's the thing. If you have apprehension when getting the check, we're in trouble. Okay? Because you can do everything right, but if you're not buttoned up with quoting and getting the check, nobody's writing checks. They always want to stall. They got to understand the process. It's why closing is a process. But if you get this down, I mean, like, okay, fine. Sophia, right? Sophia will ask a million times, right? Sophia's the person like, hey, 1 missed call from Samir, 38 missed calls from Sophia. Say, damn, come on, man. It's been like 3 minutes. How are you going to call me 38 times, right? Right? That's her. She's like that. Okay, that's fine. So maybe Sophia, look, Tara's getting big checks. Tara's not exactly like Sophia. John is a soft, and I mean this, soft-spoken. He's not like Sophia, but you're still running, kind of getting it to, and you hit the board every month, right? Closing people on insurance. I mean, so there's an element of duplication, right? I can't close, my people can't close. Nobody makes money. That's not good. All right, so I just want you to go through the dime really quick. Let's give it up, RVP Sophia Saeed.
All right, so how's everybody doing?
Great.
You guys ready to have a phenomenal February? I don't know how to say that. I just made this up. Anyways, okay. So a couple of things before I kind of go through a little bit more of the technical and the practical. So it always starts before you're actually at the KT, right? So first off, remember, skills, right? Be prepared. You have to make sure that you really work on your craft and everything, right? Lots of activity also, okay? If you want to be at the kitchen table, you have to, what? Prospect a bunch of people, recruit a bunch of people, do a good fast start, and to get even at the kitchen. So if you want to write a lot of premium, you need to physically be on appointments, right? Because people are still people, right? The other thing that really helps too a lot is just being in the right market. And other than your own kind of personal warm market, what's the best right market? Your recruit's warm market, right? So a lot of this stuff that we're doing, or somehow through a warm market, right? So for Chane, that's John's name, Chane. So for Chane, right, this big check and everything, he met with his pastor. His pastor has been talking to all kinds of people, like literally in the actual, at church, talking about John and Anita, right? And he recommended, right, am I right, to this woman. Okay, so it's that the warmest connection, that credibility that breaks down a lot of barriers. And even for Tara, right, that big check, that was a referral, right? So they're like referrals, there's that credibility. Like more often than not, I mean, I'm closing people that it's a recruit, I'm in a recruit's warm market, right? That helps a lot. The other thing is this, mentality, right? you remember these kind of mirror neurons. You have to walk in with confidence. You have to walk in knowing, right, that you're going to be able to really help them. And confidence comes from what? Competence would come from what? Mastering your craft, skills pay the bills, okay? Also, like, you have to assume the best is going to happen, and this is extremely important. You have to be 100% believing that what we have to offer, that our life insurance is the best. The best. I worked with somebody one time who was like, but is it really the best? And is it really the best? And things like that. And it took a long time for that person to really go out and close because she wasn't really believing. When you know 100% that what we have is the best in the market, right? You carry a different confidence, a different swag, a different tone, a different passion and excitement. People feed off that. They need to feel that because they don't know. You know what I'm saying? The other thing is this, remember, you can't say the right thing to the wrong person. Be at peace, you guys. Whenever I go to, whether it's a interview or a KT or whatever it is, to be honest, in my heart of hearts, it's like, it's all good in the hood. If they do business, cool. If they don't do business, cool. Why? Because I understand you can't say the right thing to the wrong person, the wrong thing to the right person. You can't. It's not like, oh, but Sophia, if you were there, maybe a little bit skill, but really, no. You know, right? Like I always talk about Charles White recruited himself, you know, saying stuff like that. The other thing is the numbers are the numbers are the numbers. Again, let the numbers set you free so you're not so dang uptight in the like at the KT. You know, it's like, oh, I have to do this. The other thing is if you're doing a lot of numbers, you're not as nervous about I have to close because I have to eat. You know what I'm saying? We're going, these are people's lives, you guys. You know what I'm saying? We have to go in and always put them first and make sure, right? So the other thing, like, is, you know, like I said, just detach. It's cool. You know, be at peace. Because again, they feed off that. If you're nervous and anxious and whatever and things like that, right, they're going to feel that too. And you know, we talk about this as well, appearance, right? As soon as you walk in that door, right, these are all the preliminaries, right? As soon as you walk in that door, they are judging you. Okay? You know, we look young, like forever young. You know what I'm saying? So we got to dress it up. We have to, they are absolutely judging you. And think about that, especially if they already have life insurance, right? Who came through their door before? Mr. New York Life. In his, like, you know, nice garb and all this kind of stuff. Who's older than you, who's more professional than you, who talks better than you type thing, right? So you're competing against that, right? Even if we have the best thing, they still have to, like, it just breaks down these barriers so that you're in a better position to present and they're just more open. Okay, so remember, you gotta look, you know, like professional and things like that, right? The other thing is this, we are in the life and trust business, okay? So some of the things, like, honestly, the biggest thing that I do with these people, I build relationship with them, you know, and it's not just like necessarily straight up FORM, right? Which is great, but it's like, you know, you just make them laugh, you connect with them, you know, and stuff. I mean, I do a lot of that with my people because I'm just so damn funny. Right? But, you know, and form them, get to know them, things like that. That is important. You know, I think I heard Tanya Poe say this before, and Shayna will probably know, like, where she talked about, like, that rapport in the beginning is really important. She doesn't shortchange that. I never shortchange that, right? The other thing is, right, so then, you know, you form them, right? You tell your personal story. You know, you guys have heard my personal story a time or two. I literally, in my story, right, Shaq talked about it before, you know, I am going, I witnessed the whole time. You know, I plant very extremely strategic seeds the whole time. You form them, you can kind of, you know, basically when you form them, it's like, hey, we got everything you want, we don't have the things you don't want, right? We're trying to find those points of connection. So even in your story, like, you know, you can kind of start to plant a lot of those seeds. And the other thing is this, right? You need to witness, like, are you a client? Do you have things? You know, I talked about I was a client for 7 years before really working with the company, right? You know, I talked about how it's changed my life. Right? People can argue things, and they can't argue your testimony and where you're coming from. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times it's right. A lot of cash value people, right? They talk about cash value, but what do they have on their own life term? You know what I'm saying, right? It's like you need to have that authenticity. If you don't have your own policy, if you don't have your own investments and things like that, it just really doesn't hold the same weight. Okay, right? So the other thing is, right, again, master your craft. The presentation is the jam. Okay? I met lately, right, you know, I've been here now 2.5 years. I've been meeting with people that I met with from, like, the beginning of time, you know, and I think, hey, you know, I was a funny day, right? I wasn't really, I wasn't where I am today, right? We all start somewhere, okay? But I met with them again, and now we have this arsenal in this presentation that's like, bam, 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 bam. It's like, and it's in the presentation. Like, it is the best thing in the world. So you guys need to master that. Master that, okay? And the place for you to master that is not at the KT. You should be practicing that. When I was like my first month license, scared out of my mind, I had some random CD. I listened to it like it was my job, like all day, every waking moment. It's like I have to be extremely good at this, or I won't eat. So do that. You should be able to go through the presentation like a pro already. Why not? Like what else are you doing? How long did you take? One day, master the presentation, okay? Because you need to be prepared to sound like a pro. That's part of it too. You need to look like a pro. You need to sound like a pro. If you're stuttering and stammering, and hey, like I said, we all start somewhere. If you're brand new, but if you're not like you've done it a million times before, right? You want, like, if you're going to a doctor or a lawyer, you don't want stuff like that, right? You want somebody who's like, bam, they know what they're doing. You need to be that person, okay? You got to show your passion, a little passion in my heart. Why? I was a client all these years. I see little miracles happening in people's lives all the time. We have these stories. You know what I'm saying, right? Show them that passion. Show them that passion. Because you can't fake that. It comes from your heart. And if you don't have that, you need to go on more appointments. You need to see more things happening. You need to see how people are taken advantage of. Right? This is the crusade. You need to engage with them as well. Right? Like, ask them questions. There are questions built into things. Now, like, whatever, engage them. And like I said, too, like enough of them, too. Like, I built in, some of the things that I kind of say. So like that, like, I'm being a little silly or a little cheeky to just make them laugh a little bit. Because the thing is this, human beings are human beings. There's certain endorphins being produced the way that people work, and this is a whole other thing. But it's like, whatever they feel, whether it's coming directly from you or from an outside event, they associate that with you. If you're somewhere, you're going to your car and you get lost in the parking lot and you're pounding pavement for like 3 hours, stuff like that. Even if you had like the best time with your friends, right? Because you're frustrated, you associate those feelings. That's just human psychology the way it is. So if you make them laugh and have a good time, they associate that good. They might not remember exactly everything you said, Rule 74, things like that, right? But they will remember, right? They will remember, like, they liked you and they trusted you. They liked you because you had a good rapport, you seemed like a good person, felt good to be with you. They trusted you because you look like you're pro and you sound like a pro. But I don't remember the Rule of 74, okay? Right? The other thing is this, and I just got a couple more points and I'll get through some nitty gritty, right? But the thing is, you gotta have these power statements, and planting seeds throughout the presentation. Like long time ago, I think I was doing something on closing life, but it's like, it's not just like you go through the thing and then it's like, okay, now it's just time to close life. I'm closing life from the time I step up in that door, okay? So, and I'll go through a couple of those power statements when I kind of flip through the thing and where I kind of plant some seeds. The other thing is this, don't shortcut, right? Like every once in a while, kind of like breeze over things or like, oh, we don't really have a lot of time. Like, I'd rather go through a good presentation up front, set the stage well up front, and not close that day and come back than try to like rush a close. You know what I'm saying? Because every time, sometimes people are like, oh, no, they just want life, right? And it's like, just get to it, Sophia. They're like, they're good, they're ready to go. They're not. Because it's not just, okay, maybe you can just close some life right quick, okay? Is it gonna stick on the books, right? There's a reason why we go through and we educate things well, right? And we spend that time, so that they really understand what they're getting. Because again, these are people's lives, life insurance is unbelievably important, right? So it's like, there's a reason why you go through this stuff so they understand why your company, why is this really the best for my family? When they really understand that, they move forward in confidence. Think about it for you. Even us ladies, right? It's hard to make a decision about our shoes and stuff like that. It's like you still need to take time to go through that process. This is life insurance. The base of their financial plan is extremely important, right? The other thing is this, okay? Overcome objections throughout the presentation. Like I build in things from my story all the way through the presentation. I'm already overcoming their objections. So when it's time to close, We walk right through. I already answered those things. And don't be afraid to be like straight up. When I'm recruiting and when I'm presenting and things like that, keep it real, you guys. They're people. You know, you don't need to be like too polished and too plastic and things like that. It's like, they're people. They're thinking the same things you thought. Level with them. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that, right? It just makes it real, and you just address it. Because don't be afraid. Again, can't say the right thing, wrong person, wrong thing, right person. They're going to either do it or they're not. They're either logical or they're not. You know? The other thing is this: don't close if you don't have time. Like I mentioned, if it's like 30 minutes, you know, at a coffee shop, things like that. I'd rather build rapport, right? Like and trust, so they want to see me again, and try to provide a little bit of value, a little bit of a connection, and maybe just go through the presentation. I will not try to go through the closing sequence. I know in my mind it takes some time, right? So I'll just stop. And then we'll schedule another time to get back together. You want to provide enough value that they want to get back together with you, okay? And then set the next appointment. But when I do close, right, I'll go through this kind of process in a little bit more detail. But you know, after you get through everything, you know, you go through the 4 ways of insurance, and I'll go through the actual slides. Tomas, if you can bring up the slides real quick.
Where do you want me to start from?
Just at the beginning. You know, I'm not going to go through like every slide like that, like I'm presenting, but I'll go through a couple of kind of like my points like that. So you know, then you go into the dime. From the dime, I go into income protection. From income protection, I go into what fits in your budget, right? There's little like 50 to 100, 100 to 200. That's awesome. I love that. That's genius, okay? And then, you know, actually doing the quotes, then the process close, then the application we go through kind of medical, we go through the medical questions first, right? Things like that. Good faith deposit, receipt, set the next appointments, leave behind. That's kind of like that. That's my closing sequence. Like actually going through that. That's a lot of stuff, right? But also, when we close. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, okay, Tomas, should I just, does this work?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you go through it.
All right. So I'm going to do my best to kind of go through and think through what are the things that helps me close life throughout the presentation, right? So first of all, y'all know I never say Primerica like until we get to, and I'll show you which slide. Why? Okay? Now we know we have phenomenal training at this office. That's why we all make the commute, right? We know that the company is phenomenal. Unfortunately, there's like 130,000 licensed agents, a lot of people not even licensed, going out there and not representing us well. That's the thing. You gotta represent us well. Master your craft, okay? Give Primerica the name that it deserves, right? So sometimes, like, I go through all this stuff. I don't say anything. Everything's the truth. Everything's from the heart. Everything's for real, right? And they're like, oh, you know, stuff like that. And then when I get to Primerica, they're like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, whoa, this is completely different than I've ever seen before, right? It's the same company, okay? Don't be the ghetto McDonald's, okay? So I don't say anything up to that point. So we go over here, right? And the way that I mention things and stuff too is like, you know, we talk about the excitement, right? We talk about value. It's very assumptive. It's very a matter of fact. You know, and I say things, and I'm trying to remember kind of what I say. Literally, it's like you press play in my brain, and my team does it like, but don't stop me. You know, so anyways, so value, right? So it's like, you know, the excitement, you know, then, you know, to be honest, like, we sit down with a lot of folks, and like, basically people are like, well, I would like to do better financially, so of course if there's something that we can do to help, we're going to help you out. And the last thing is partnership, right? So it's just like, duh. Okay? So, you know, don't do that. I don't do that. But it's like, well, like, do people want to do better financially? Of course, right? Most people want that. You know, you're saying most people, right? I forgot the name of that close, maybe Matt remembers something like that from Tom Hopkins, but it's like, duh, right? So, okay. So go through this stuff. I relate to them. Here they're like, things like that, right? You know, we go through this piece as well. The one thing that I say here, you know, is like, you know, when people get smart enough, or when people get desperate enough, and they're seeking professional financial help, many financial advisors say they are reluctant to take on new clients who don't have deep pockets. Basically, what does that mean? If you don't already have it all together, and you don't already have a lot of money, you're not worth our time. So who does that leave? The rest of us, right? So the thing is, a lot of it is that kind of like that kind of connection, things like that. So I kind of go through how we're built for, you know, middle class, things like that. When I talk about the properly protected, right? It's like, so you guys know that life is life, right? And in an instant, things change. People die, people lose jobs, accidents happen, stuff happens. So doesn't it make sense to protect all the people and things that mean so much to us? That's step one, right? So I say, that's what I say when I talk about that. I make it real. I pull them in. People die. They think about people that die. People lose jobs, accidents happen, because we do a lot of different kinds of protection, right? So doesn't it make sense that we protect all the people and things that mean so much to us? That's step one. Okay? Okay, right? So we go through all this good stuff, blah, 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 you know? All right, and then I go into the credibility, and I always ask, right? You always want to know, so the name of our company is Primerica. Have you heard of us, right? Okay? Now by this time, from the way that you talk, you act, you are, you connected, everything, they love you. So when you go into Primerica, and they done heard of that before and things like that, oh, I already seen that, and stuff like, okay, right? They're like confused, they're in a different place. You've already moved the pendulum over, or at least they're a bit more at a neutral. So even if they step back two more because it's this and stuff like that, maybe they didn't have the greatest experience, right? You're not 10 things behind, right? You're not fighting them from the beginning. You've won them over, and now you can move forward better, right? I can't go through all these things, but like y'all know, I'm all about the credibility. And yes, I will spend that time talking about the credibility, because if they have any idiot things in mind, right, I'm going to slam it down. Because if they think that you're in a legal pyramid scheme and things like that, offering the wrong things to people, guess what? They're not going to do business with you. So I set that stage strong, okay? And I want to make sure that they understand, like, look, you're working with the best. The other thing is the way, and I don't think I have a lot of time to go over this right now, but it's like, the other thing, the way, the things that I say about the company and how we do it, right? It's like, well, how is it that you offer the best life insurance? It's like, a lot of it honestly is like, and you guys need to understand how phenomenal our company is. Like, you know, a lot of it is a business model. How can we offer things other people can't? How come we can do a 35-year local term? How come we can offer all these additional features and benefits and things like that? How come? Our business model allows us to do things nobody else can, right? So there are a number of things that, again, I don't think I really have a lot of time to go through this, but it's like, you know, that I say in here, right, to set the stage, the strong TH, that again, breaks down those things. The other thing is this, like, yes, we're here, we're talking about closing life, okay? But what is the best thing that we really offer clients? What's the best thing about Primerica that we can offer? The opportunity. Okay? Because if we can help one client, great. Maybe give us some free referral, great. But if they come on board, right, how many more families are going to get helped, right? So I say certain things in here. I'm trying to think about, $746 billion of life insurance in the force, right? I believe, I don't know if we have the most term in the industry or the second most term in the industry, something like that. But we're actually, it's now 60 billion. Of assets under management from the last I heard and stuff like that, right? Anyways, so I talk about how we're part of like Secret. Again, lots more credibility. There's more things that I say, kind of there, but again, lots and lots of credibility, right? And show the bigness of our company, the seriousness of our company and stuff too, so they don't think we're hokey pokey, right? I talk about how we're the S&P 400, one of the largest mid-sized multi-billion-dollar companies in North America. They're like, oh dang, I didn't know it was like that, right? That's a big deal, okay? Forbes, trustworthy, right? Things like that, okay? I'm sorry. Kind of go over these things, right? And this is another place where I level with people too, okay? Where it's like, look, we're in the DC metro area. I get it. We're all pretty well educated. We're all very responsible people. We all have stuff. I had stuff. We all have stuff. But the question is this, do we have the best? Because a lot of times we just kind of close our eyes, check a box, and hope for the best, right? But it's like, there's a difference between good, great, and the best. And optimal can make millions of dollars of difference in your bottom line, right? Things like that. So anyway, so I talk about these things. I talk about how total comprehensive financial plan. I always talk about how it's complementary, things like that, whatever. So the financial, so we help establish priorities, things like that, net worth, thin, okay, how we take, I talk about how we have educational approach, things like that. So I kind of set the stage there because when we go into life insurance, sometimes it's like, we do the theory and stuff like that. It's like, oh, we're going to talk about the life insurance. Nobody wants to talk about life insurance, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, hey, we take an educational approach. I have an area I'll show you on the slide where I talk about, here's another place kind of we educate. So we go through this. This slide is one of my power slides for helping with investments, by the way, and stuff like that. And I don't know if I have a second, but I'll just say it real quick. So, you know, with the 12%, it's like I tell people, you know, we go through, it's like, well, the number one question that I get, you know, is, yeah, so if you get 12%, that's great and all, but where do you get 12%? Right? It's like, well, you get 12% with the highest grade investments. Where do you get those? High-end brokerages. Problem is this: do you know how much money you need before Morgan Stanley and Raymond James takes your phone call? $250,000, $500,000, right? So who does that leave the rest of us? So what we did was we went to, you know, the same high-end investment company, said, look, we're not going to bring you a handful of really wealthy guys in their yachts, but we will bring you a whole lot of regular network people, right? So we bring less per client, but we bring some new clients. So now our entry point is not $250,000. Do you know what it is? $50. And so last night I was with Therese. She's like, I have $50, you know, and stuff like that. I was like, oh, so sad. But it kind of overcomes that because, like, literally, like, that's where my built-in objection is, and I make that a power thing. But anyway, sorry. So, you know, the $200 a month thing. You know, everybody's got antibiotics, you know, things like that. I know we're supposed to use that kind of for the life. You see where they're at with that, if they have a little disposable income, things like that, or not. You know, eliminating debt, understanding coverage needs, things like that. Okay, so. You know, so understanding coverage needs, and to be honest, I think I was using one iteration before and stuff, but you know, we go over that and talk about, you know, this is one area. Okay, so this is what I say. So we help people protect their financial independence and understand their coverage needs and understand life insurance. This is the most misunderstood concept in finance. You know, everybody's like, well, do I need something? I think I need something. I have something. I don't really know how to work. So we always take a moment to educate on this. That's how I set the stage, right? Then I go into, and I kind of read through these things. So what do you think the worst thing that can happen to family financially is? You know, you guys know how to go through this. We explained the theory of, you know, decreasing responsibility. But I say, this is how insurance and investments were designed to work ideally. It's called the theory of decreasing responsibility, right? So I say that and stuff too, right? Because again, they want to know the ideal. They want the best. Hey, this is how the two biggest things, the two most important things in you know, personal finance, this is how it works, right? So, you know, the early years, you might not have a lot of money, right? You know, but you have a lot of responsibilities, right? You got kids, you know, debt, mortgage, things like that, lots of responsibilities. So a permanent, I say a permanent loss of income would be devastating. So it's in these moments, that's when you need a lot of life insurance to cover that gap, right? But the good news is 20, 30 years down the road, kids are grown, mortgage is paid, you took care of all your financial obligations, right? And in the same 20, 30 years, what do you hope to be doing? Retiring, right? What do you need a lot of in retirement? Money and maybe some Bengay, right? And we kind of laugh about that, right? So a little tiger bomb, they're Asian, you know, right? You know, mama know about tiger bomb. She's gonna throw something at me. Stay healthy. Anyways, okay. So you know, a lot of money like Bengay, right? And so when I kind of talk about it, it's like, you know, well, one of two things are going to happen. Either you die before you retire or you live to retirement. Either way, we have to protect your loved ones in case you die too soon. We need to protect you in case you live too long, right? But the cool thing is this. We are the only company in the entire industry that's trying to get you out of life insurance, right? So we actually help you save and invest so you have more money, right, in cash than you do in your life insurance. So for example, like, how much do you have right now in your death benefit, Josh? Around $100,000. Okay, right. So what do you think is better, $100,000 in life insurance or $100,000 in cash?
Yeah.
Right, absolutely, because if you die, your family gets it, but if you live, you get it, right? So we're actually trying to get you out of life insurance. And then if you don't need life insurance, how much are your premiums at?
If I don't do it.
Yeah, exactly, right? And then what do you get to do? Save and invest more because you maybe have a better quality of life, right? But the thing is this. Does every single other life insurance company want you to pay life insurance for your whole life? They do, right? But is that better for them or better for you? Right? You know, so we are, again, the only company that's like, look, be responsible, do what you have to do, you know, but we're going to get you to this point where you won't need life insurance anymore, and then it'll be your choice after that, right? So that's one of the things that I say on that slide, okay? So it's like, again, we're using certain kind of words so that they understand, like, what we're doing here. Ideally, you know, how it's supposed to work. Like, and they relate to those sorts of things. We're the only, like, in my networking group, right? The thing that sets me apart, right? I just used this last week. It's like, we're the only life insurance company that's trying to get you out of life insurance by helping you be self-insured and financially dependent. And they're all like, whoa, 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 you know, stuff like that, right? Because nobody likes to pay for life insurance, right? You don't, I don't. I still got my 1.7 million, you know what I'm saying? But, right, it's like level with them, right? Anyways, so we go over these sorts of things as well. This is one thing that when I talk about this, it's a plan for life insurance and stuff as well, where I say, you know, and then we have the Morningstar software as well. And this is actually our approach with everything, whether it's life insurance or investments or anything like that. You know, we'll go ahead and we'll do the analysis, right? And, you know, and if what you have is the best, we just high-five you. We're not in the business of moving things or changing things just to change things, because at the end of the day, that's not the right thing for you. We would rather, you know, maybe we don't do business, but you know that we did the right thing by you. So later on down the road, right, you may know of someone else, or maybe you do have a need, you feel good about that, right? However, and there's things that I say in the credibility, how we're like basically the best and offer things nobody else can, right? Stuff like that. However, more often than not, though, we really can offer something significantly better. And at that point, we'll just go ahead and present the facts to you. Everything is black and white. Everything is concrete, you know, and then we just let you choose. No pressure. Does that make sense? Right? Okay, so I do that. Talk about beneficiaries. And then the lifetime relationship, you know, free, unlimited, professional, financial help. Anytime you have a question, anytime something changes, right? Yamame, you know, just call us. We're there. Never charged. You know what I'm saying? Right? So that's another thing too, because look, yes, we are helping them with the foundation of their financial plan. Well, this is way more than their selectquote.com jank. Okay? Right? This is the jam right here. Okay? We give so much more than that, than just some life insurance. Okay? So I go through the questions, things like that, right? And then we kind of like build the house, and we talk about the house, the red house, right, and stuff like that on the ferry. So, you know, so talk about, so, you know, when you're building a house, any house, it needs to be built on a strong what? A foundation, right? Because the foundation's weak, what happens to that house? Problems. And who's the problem on? The family, right? So the thing is, that your foundation for your financial house is, surprise, surprise, your income. Because if no money comes in, right, can you even think about retirement? Can you even think about college education? Is the debt situation going to get better or worse? You can't even eat. That's why we have to start there. Tomas, can you touch that real quick? Right, so then, you know, we kind of roll into that. Okay, and so, and we go through these things, right? It's like the same thing, you know. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't do it. Okay. Right, how much coverage do you currently have? A lot of times, honestly, I already know that by the time I get there. Like, they already kind of divulge information. People will divulge information what? If they like you and they trust you and they find a value in giving you that information, okay? Or, right, they're already, like, thinking about it. Like, some people, like, you know, when I was with Jessica, we went on a training point that really was just going to be like you're a center of influence. We spread the word. And they, like, hardly get a few words out. They're like, we're so glad you're here. We want to be glad. Like, you know, stuff like that. Some people are already thinking about it, right? But anyway, so how much coverage you probably have, right? Do you feel you're overinsured? I'm sure, not sure. Okay, if they have stuff, you know, you click through and things like that. Okay, so, you know, do you know how your policy works, right? Why'd you buy it? These are all phenomenal questions. You guys, it's all there. The juicy goodness is right there, okay? This is phenomenal, right? Okay, these are like the best things in the world, right? We find almost everyone greatly benefits. The promise.
Hey, Sophia, go to the dime. We can do this tomorrow.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. Or Saturday, get to the dime.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Get me to the dime, Tomas.
Okay.
Okay. Right, so we go through all these things and stuff like that. I'm sorry, Jen. Go through all these things, and then, you know, so has anyone ever showed you the proper amount of coverage that you actually need, right? And we go through dime, the same way that you guys have to do, right? So mortgage, debt, blah, 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 right? Education, right? Debt, and then right? So monthly income. So imagine the mortgage is all paid off, the family's not burdened with any of that debt, kids are able to go off to college, that everything's taken care of, you know, your final expenses were taken care of. How much would you need kind of per month to kind of cover things, right? We go over that, right? So then, whiteboard, okay. So then, right, you know, we calculate it, and let's say it's, you know, 50,000, right? Like your annual income need, okay, right? So this is what I say, right? So I say, okay, it's 50,000. So Susie Orman, right? Remember we already talked about it earlier. So Susie Orman will say, take your annual income need and and multiply it by like 15 or 20. Why do you think she says that? Because it'll last like 15 or 20 years, right? You know, but you see, that's with every other life insurance company because all they do is life insurance. They have to purchase more life insurance, right? But since we do investments as well, we actually can lower the amount of insurance you need, which saves you a lot of money, but we're actually able to stretch that out. I'll show you what we do, right? So we call it the 10 times rule. We multiply it by 10, right? So now, right, 50,000 times 10 is 500,000. Now the thing is this, with any other life insurance company, and you guys, we're polarizing. A lot of these statements are polarizing. When I talk about, you know, with the life and stuff like that, you know, the term versus term, we're polarizing it, right? So now with any other life insurance company, at best, you know, your little guy, you know, your wife, they're gonna have to struggle and find out like how you have to go through this whole process at the worst time in their life and everything, and maybe they send you a check 6 months down the road. But even if they did, would they even know what to do with that, right? Now the difference is here. If something happened to you, Tara and I will come, right? We'll come to your family. We'll know exactly, you don't even have to say what happened, we know. And we'll sit with your family, we'll pray with them, we'll cry with them, we'll bring the best of ourselves, we'll go above and beyond, we'll take care of everything, whether it's our paperwork, other things, we're there for them. And we'll bring this check for $500,000. Now the thing is this, do you think little Junior would know what to do with a $500,000 check? Probably not, right? You know, it's usually gone before you know. But what we recommend, this is optional, but most clients do it, is we recommend investing it and rolling it into an investment yield about 10%, right? Now that 10% is 50,000, right? So now they're living off of the interest. We're not touching the principal, and you become the best husband, father, wife, mom, because you're provided for them for life. Now let me actually show you how that works in practical application. Tomas, can you pull up the income protection? You guys, all my juicy, juicy goodness! TXT4, y'all, second agent that. Jenny, go. Yeah. Is this helpful? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I actually just updated the new one because last year was like a great year, you know? So I was carrying on from 2016, but okay, can you scroll down a little bit, right? So, okay, wait, go back up to where it says 500,000, right? So this is what's kind of cool. You know, actually, in reality, my first client that I, like through my field training, Shaq and I went as my brother's groomsman, right? And I actually was carrying around his thing, you know, and stuff like that. Like somebody died and they had a $500,000, you know, inheritance, basically, stuff like that. So I was carrying that around. So I kind of like slipped that in there as well, where it's like, it's not my first rodeo, you know, this is actually what we did, right? But anyways, but I'll say, so this actually happened to my client, right? And, but let's just go ahead and put you in the scenario, okay? So, you know, God forbid, and you choose somebody to die. You know, Ralph dies, or Baj dies, okay? Baj dies. Because a lot of people's names are Baj. It's very typical. So, okay. So, you know, God forbid he passes, right? We have this 500,000, boom, we go ahead and invest it, okay? Now, year after year after year after year after year after year, and can you scroll all the way down? After year after year after year after 40 years. Now, I need a Baj wife. Kind of bar Shonda. So Shonda. Okay. So Josh. So how old would you be in 40 years?
In 40 years, I'll be 60.
Right, so you'll be 60. So you're basically provided for, you know, your entire life. And after 40 years, how much money did you actually pull off and live off of? 2 mil, right? You know, but again, how much life insurance did you purchase? You only paid for 500,000, but you lived off of 2 mil. And because you just took what you needed, you saved and invested the rest, how much do you have left over to retire? Over 5 mil, right? So 2 mil plus 5 mil is what? About 7 mil, right? But again, how much life insurance did you purchase? And this investment actually factually did 11.75%, you know, these last 40 years. I'm actually very personally invested in this, but we'll go over that later. So go back up to the top for us. You see that? You have to have investments to be able to say things like that. Okay? I'm actually very personally invested in the Income Fund of America. So I can say that. I believe in that. I have that. Right? Wait, not all the way. Just back to the 500. Sorry. Okay. Right? So the thing is this. Like, look. The whole reason why we get life insurance is what? Not to check the box and say I have life insurance. The whole reason why, okay, we have life insurance, what? To make sure that our families are actually provided for and taken care of, right? You know, so here, right, always provided for. They never have to worry about, you know, can we eat? Can we pay the mortgage? Can we put shoes on Junior's feet? Things like that. You never have to worry about that. And this is their money, right? So let's say, you know, Junior, here, scroll down a little bit more. So let's say Junior's like brilliant, right? Turns out to be this little, no, not all the way, sorry, like right here, right? He's brilliant, right? And he gets into Harvard, okay? Can he go to Harvard with $945,000? Let's hope so, right? Or let's say little princess, wants to get married. Can she have a wedding, when she's 42 years old? At, with $2 million, right? A little bit more. I think, again, jump y'all, you know what I'm saying? Because nobody wants their little girl to get married, right? Until she's 42, So that's what I'm waiting for. That's my excuse. That's why I'm still single. Okay, so God forbid, Josh, you get older and everything as well, right? And let's say you need a nurse or you need extra care. Can you get nursing care for $3.4 million, right? So the whole thing is this: your family with us, they're always, always, always provided for. And in case life happens, anything that they need, you just built a legacy at the worst time of their life. Right? So you can see why having Primerica Life is truly unlike any other life insurance, right? But now the next thing is this: we just need to be able to see how much you can actually afford. We want to get you as close to what you need with something you can afford. So usually, and then we go to the 3 buckets, right? Like usually people afford 50 to 100. People just kind of starting out, they can start, somewhere 50 to 100. Most people do somewhere between 100 or 200, and then some people actually do over 200. So what kind of fits best in your budget? And we go through that sequence. And so from there, then I go to the quotes, and from the quotes I go to the process close, and from the process close, we go into the application. And from the application, we go into the medical questions, and then we go back through. And then, we leave behind the good faith deposit, some materials. We reiterate a couple of things, like there's some brochures that we leave behind. Set the next appointment, right? And that's kind of what we do. Is that cool, Chef? Any questions or anything like that? So a lot, right? So this is honestly, this is what happened. My mom knows. I prospected my nurse. I get those IVs and those vitamin IVs and like that. So I prospected my nurse, and she was open. I went to her house. I did all this stuff. I got the life. She had a few $100,000 of the best, all the good stuff. I didn't leave her anything because I didn't realize that. I just didn't really realize that I was supposed to leave her stuff. So she calls me. She's like, "Can you bring back all my stuff? I don't even know who you are. Blah 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 blah. Whatever." It's like, snap, So then I realized I bought a bunch of brochures, things like that. I get the folder. They're 75 cents, but it looks professional. I get the folder. I leave behind. I've been doing Primerica the total package, right? I used to leave both the total package and this is Primerica and we are Primerica because I kind of highlight a few other things and it's a little easier to just bam like that, right? But or you could just do the total package, same information there. So, or depending on how robust their situation is, you could choose. I've been doing the consider the source because honestly, I've lost a couple clients on this like stupid freaking BS crap that's online and everything like that. So I also, when I go over the brochures with them and show them what's in the brochure to reiterate things and stuff like that, and I just keep it real with that. So I've been giving the consider the source a lot. And then I usually carry on options and benefits, which is a much more kind of robust pamphlet that talks about all the great things that make our life in more detail. But I also give, because some people don't want to go through all that, right? I also give at least either the custom advantage bifold or the term now, depending on what they're doing, bifold and things like that. Which is, and again, I go through it real quick with them so that they know what's in it, or they're not going to go over it. And it's another reiteration of, and these are all the great things that really make our life insurance like totally unique. I know we went over last, that kind of thing. We go over that again. And then I usually give them the F&A, the orange F&A, 30 minutes. I think it's 30 minutes can change your life, something like that, for sure. And I actually highlight in there. I used to try to send emails, and y'all know I'm not on the computer much, so like it's just like for me to sit and do it. So I just started doing the brochure, and I'll just write in auto and home declaration pages. I'll highlight the little like documents that they should gather and things like that as well. They have them ready for me the next time. And I put my card in the thing. I'm trying to think if and if there's some good recruiting seats and things like that, or financial wellness workshops, I leave some other, brochures and things like that as well. We were already kind of talking about too. Cool. Anything else? Casper, my #1 fan.
Well, I have a question. So,
yeah.
so this would be you hire really like Tara. You also use
Yeah. So get your securities license. Moral of the story is, don't mess around with that, you guys. Come on. You know what I'm saying? Buy term and invest difference. If it's just the term, right? How are we any different than any other term company? Right? The secret sauce is the investments. The secret sauce is we're the only company that's going to help you save and invest money so that you don't need life insurance anymore. That's the secret sauce. That's what sets us apart. If you don't have your securities license, shame on you. Get your license. You know, you have to do the full job for the clients. Anyways. All right, well, thank you guys very much.
Good job.
When I was sitting back there, and I was sitting there listening, I heard a lot of, obviously, experience, right? Somebody that is with clients 5 times a week minimum. Right.
Usually 3 to 5 a day.
I mean, with clients, delivering policies, getting applications, field training, referrals, prospects, warm market, getting to the kitchen table all the time. All the time. All the time, right? And, when I was really, the philosophy in, how to build a big day shop is recruit, directs, and field training. Always remember that. Recruit, directs, field training. Recruit, directs, field training. So you're at least 10 wide. Okay? So recruit, directs, field training. Recruit, directs, field training. Recruit, directs, field training. And you're going to go out with, especially if you're really wide, you're going to go out with all different types of people and different types of markets. You go to the city, you go to the suburbs, you go to a farm, you go to single parents, you go to families, you go to older people, you go to younger people, and you're going to get really good. When she's going through some of this stuff, I was thinking about how thorough I was when I would go out to the kitchen table all the time, and we'd have spreadsheets with client recommendations and brochures we'd be behind and all this stuff, because you're right, if I was going to do the work, I don't want my client changing their mind. I want to teach people, if I take them on 10 good appointments, I want them to be able to do it. I want to get referrals. I want to keep my money. I want to make a lot of money. And I want people out there that are really good. And that only comes with just experience, man. I mean, just going out there all the time. And some of the stuff is not going to be appropriate for every market. Some will, right? And the more you go out, the better you'll get. I mean, I see somebody that, 5 to 10 sales every month for the last year and a half. Every month. What does that mean?
That she makes money.
Okay, but what does that mean for you?
That I need to listen.
No.
Yep.
No job. That's what I hear. You don't have to listen. You didn't even have a job. That's what's going to happen. I hate saying it like that, but that's what's going to happen. When I see that, I just see a full-timer. That's what I see, a full-timer. Someone that's at the kitchen table, can overcome the objections to see. Because look, here's the thing. Sophia is in a little bit of a different market. You know why? She has a higher self-worth than a lot of us. That's not a bad thing. That's just the truth. That is just the truth. She has, and when she made 100 grand, she quit her job and says, I'm going to make 100 grand, right?
Yep.
That's one that Samira and I was talking about. She said, no. She knew she was going to make 100. High self-worth. It just attracts, right? Now, look, I'm all good. I mean, I don't care. You want to go help people. I'm not saying it. But so some of the presentations, it is a little, what I say is like, I'm at a lost word. It's not an affluent presentation. But that's just the type of client she's with. Because when she trains, I was on the phone with her just the other day, and she was getting a number from a restaurant that she was at, and we were talking about it, and right? If you're on the phone with me, and I'm prospecting somebody that's at a restaurant, who do you think I'm prospecting? It was the owner. It was the owner of the place, and she was just like, yeah. He's the owner, but he needs more money, this and that. And I was thinking in my head, like, he's the owner. He doesn't. But that's not how she thinks. That's how I think. That's not how she thinks. It wasn't the waiter, it wasn't the busboy, it wasn't the host. It was the owner. She prospected the owner of the restaurant. I was like, damn, okay. I mean, that was great. That was refreshing. I was like, damn, okay. And it's funny, because I had just came from a meeting where I recruited somebody for somebody, and I was through a warm market, but he was the owner of the restaurant. And I was thinking, well, I actually just recruited the owner. Now, I didn't do it like that, because I didn't think like that. I should think a little more like that. A little more. Maybe not a little more. But somebody that writes 5 to 10 sales every month without fail. Her name on 5 to 10 sales, a couple $100,000 of investments on average every month, maybe 1 month, 0, maybe 300 in the next month. That's where you get that from. Being a freaking assassin in the field. Like unbelievable in the field. That's where you make money. Now, you do it through field training, but you gotta be good. She talks about mastering your craft or elsewhere, you got a job. Now, sometimes you can have a quasi job, this and that, nothing wrong with that, but that is how you survive in primary school. Recruit directs, train directs, in the field, and writing 5 to 10 sales a month with a securities license and doing business. And then it's just off the financial independence. So I took a lot of notes, got a lot from that coach. All right. Okay, so for the month of February, okay, we're going to go over this tomorrow. I was just on the phone or texting with Darren Charles. We're going to his office on February 8th. And that's a Thursday. That's next Thursday. That's in like 6 days. Okay. We'll be going to during the day and at night. He does like a big op meeting on Thursday. Okay, so I don't know how many people he recruited this week. Probably over 150 recruits. Okay. I know over 100. Okay, so look it up. But over 100 recruits in his base shop. So he doesn't have any RVPs. He did 100 recruits in his base shop. We're going to go during the day. So we didn't, the triple thing, we didn't have anybody that qualified, so we're going to open it up. We only have 6 days. Okay? But anybody that hits the board, okay, recruit for curriculum. So an IDA or curriculum or app on the computer, okay, not something that, oh yeah, and if you have a COD, MRN, and send it to me, we have it, then okay. We'll be taking a road trip to whatever, Silver Springs, Hampton, wherever it is. We'll go during the day, hang out at night, and witness his training. I think it'll be good just to see. And yeah.
131 by 52.
Okay, so 131 recruits. February 8th. That's next Thursday. So 151 recruits. 131. Sorry. 131 recruits. Okay. And a busy working environment, daytime environment with a lot of people, a lot of enthusiasm, just a lot of madness going on. Right? And I think he's going to go over 200,000. Think about that. And just think about in the next 6 days that you have. You got somebody that does 131 recruits and is going to go over 200,000. And someone's coming to our office tomorrow that started from scratch, 20 by 20, and makes 300. These are the people that we're bringing. And these are, people like me, they're dimes a dozen in our company. And then in April, we got Capri City. And tomorrow we have our Super Saturday. So it's just going to be, it's going to be an amazing month if you make it amazing. Right? And remember, okay, like I see Sophia, right? And I see, what she did this month. Proud of her for doing whatever, 10 by 14 and $500,000 in investments. And I think a lot more to come because she's running some hypotheticals with 500 million and stuff like that. And, remember the first thing I said? And this, I feel it already. We get all excited in February, and then I feel it's like it's 11:30, and you always go. People revert back to their same everything. Your inner world reflects your outer world. Right? We're going to go over the leader sheets tomorrow. This is not this is your inner world. This is your thinking, right? Your thinking about recruits is how you get to 13, whatever, double digit. That's because you have good thinking now. Right? You're at one or two recruits, that's your thinking. You're at 1,000 or 2,000 of premium, that's your thinking. You're at whatever you're at in income, that's your thinking. And it's reflected.
change that. Just change. Just make a couple adjustments. Great coaches make adjustments. But just make a couple things, a couple numbers, a couple things in your schedule. And you can have a great February. A couple adjustments here and there, your business can be totally different. But you got to make those adjustments. And sometimes you got to see it. So we got somebody coming tomorrow, and then we're going to see an elite recruiter in our company. Not this Thursday, next Thursday. So it's going to be great. Great week. All right, and we're still going to break for appointments tomorrow. We're going to set how we normally our Super Saturday we don't break. We're breaking for appointments tomorrow. We don't have enough registrations for class. Remember, registration is not people, because I know that your people are excited about their people, and that's great. Be excited. They have to pay. You know, I get emails all the time from Primerica. They cancel classes. It's a $1 billion company. They cancel classes. Why? Not enough registrations. Right? Like, I know people are excited. I get it. They get your people. That's how you fit to pay. And they're more, you know. It's a lot fast. He can pass. If he can pass, there's no excuse. Right? You spent time with him, right? I mean, he passed, man. And he was studying. He did his job. He's studying. And a great Super Saturday tomorrow, 9:30. Make sure you get everybody here. Team up, 1, 2, 3.